Ladies and gentlemen, today I bring you the one and only Transformers Hunt for the Decepticons, Revenge of the Fallen, Leader Class Starscream. I found this at a local store recently for only 65 bucks. And this being a leader class from 2009, it's a pretty good price. This thing hardly fits in my setup. This thing is massive. So, we don't have any packaging to go through because this thing did not come in any sort of box. So, let's take a quick look at the details. The head sculpt on this guy looks amazing, and you can see the red eyes. All the Cybertronian tattoos on him look amazing. Chicken legs, you got the classic Michael Bay Decepticon chicken legs. So that he's really nicely detailed. He does have quite the interesting side profile. So yeah, there's that. He has quite the interesting side profile. He's got a lot of stuff shoved on his back, but it's compressed very well. I think it is very well compressed. Now, this is an old leader. So, let's look at some of the gimmicks he has. First of all is the lights and sounds. You pull this piece out and this all lights up. Here, I'll turn off the lights to make it easier to see. Ooh, that actually looks really cool on camera. I've never actually seen that in just dead darkness. He only has those two. He only has those two voice lines. And for how that looks with lights on, this piece folds out, these two pieces fold out, and then the head and then the mouth opens. So that's the lights and sounds gimmick for robot mode. Now for the arms, there's a little red lever right here that if you pull, it brings out his kind of Gatling gun. And then on the other one, it brings out two missiles. However, the missiles do get stuck when you try to retract them sometimes. It can be ever so slightly annoying. So, since we're on the topic of weaponry, let's go over his accessories, which consists of his film-accurate arm hand blaster thing, and it actually does come with a missile. It's supposed to come with two missiles, but I only have one of them. And it is a spring-loaded launch, so you just peg that in there and push this little lever. I missed. I wanted to hit the camera, god dang it. But yeah, it does fire. And how you integrate it into the figure is you bring the hand up, you collapse it, and there's a port here that this peg will slide into. So that is how you integrate it into the actual figure. And it does actually have a weapon storage spot on this, guys. So just unfold the hand and rotate him around. You will see that there's a port here that this peg will go into. And then you fold that up to kind of collapse it up against that entire assembly. And then the missiles would peg in here, I think. Because I only have one missile, so I wouldn't be able to know where they go, but I think they peg in there like that. So now, let us go over his articulation, which, it's an old 2009 figure, it's not going to have the greatest articulation, is what one would think. But this thing is actually kind of ahead of its time. So the head rotates to about here. Mouth opens, but it is spring-loaded. He has inward moving butterfly joints. Not even NPM 10 has those inward moving butterfly joints. And that's not for transformation at all. That is purely there for articulation. Shoulders. A nice clicky ratchet joint all the way around. In and out. There is a bicep swivel. 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. No wrist swivel, but you do get a wrist hinge. And then the two thumbs are articulated along with these three fingers. I'm going to try to fix the light box. There we go. So he does have slight finger articulation. You do not get a waist joint, but you do get a hip joint. He does a pretty nice high kick. And if you straighten this piece out, it goes back that far. And so that's really nice. It can then hinge that ratchets in and out. There is a joint up here, which unfortunately on this one side doesn't have its click. And then there is a joint here. And then the feet, if you move this piece, can pivot backwards on a ratchet joint. The heel can go down, and then the toes splay. Oh, and there's a swivel here. So, articulation-wise, he is really nice. He's able to get into plenty of poses. Now, let's do the absolute task of size comparisons. So, the first figure I'm going to compare this to is my only other old movie leader, which is the 2007 movie, which is the 07 movie Optimus. So I think, well, Starscream is taller than Optimus, actually. So that's interesting. Now I'm going to compare Starscream to my two, what I would call, big leaders that I own. The first of which would be the Walmart exclusive repaint of the Studio Series 86 Grimlock. So Starscream is taller than this guy, which is pretty crazy, seeing as this Grimlock is pretty big. And then finally, the Legacy Evolution. Let's just fold up the wings so that it's more space efficient. The Legacy Evolution Transmetal to Dragon Megatron, Beast Wars Megatron. And this is big. This is probably the biggest figure in my entire collection. So now, let us do this man's transformation, which is absolutely insane. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this. Alright, so the first thing I like to do is rotate the arms all the way up and straighten them out. Straighten out the forearms, rotate the bicep, and then collapse the hands. So bring it down like this, collapse the fingers until they kind of slide in, and then collapse the thumbs. And then you want to collapse this assembly. Do the same thing on the other side. And there is the hands transformed. Now we can collapse these assemblies down. Take this piece. This strut goes into a hole here. So what you want to do is take that strut there out of there. Then straighten this assembly out and bring this down slightly. Next, what you're going to want to do is take this entire assembly and straighten it out, which then allows you to bring this piece up, and there's a button here that it'll hit, and it'll make transformation sound. Then you collapse this piece into place. I'm going to put him down for a second because this thing is actually getting kind of heavy. Oh boy. Alright, now, that is a very sturdy connection. So, this ain't moving anywhere. So, when you transform it back, I recommend trying to shove your fingernail into the cockpit to do the opening thing. So that way it'll kind of open and get it out of the way. Now, let's work on the arms. So you want to bring this piece out, snap this out of place. Alright, so after you unpeg that, you want to bring it down, extend it on this double hinge, and bring it around, do this, and then collapse this piece. Do the same thing on the other side. Bang. Now you want to take the arms and combine them. There's a hook here that'll go into a slot there. Now you want to, oh, I should have done this already, but you want to go around, take these pieces, bring them up, collapse them, and then collapse them all the way. Next, what you're going to do is bring these assemblies up on their double joints, then take the arms and ratchet them into this hollow space. Now you're going to take the wings. These are spring-loaded, so you let them go and they just go up. So you want to take these wing pieces, fold that piece up, collapse this, and then collapse that. Do the same thing on the other side. This is a workout. We're filming this. And then you want to take this back panel, snap it into place, and then straighten out all this. So you got that done. Now I'm going to lower the camera because, yeah. Alright, now that we've lowered the camera, can start to work on the legs, which are quite crazy. So you want to straighten these out all the way, which looks kind of weird for Starscream. You want to take these panels and fold them out. Then you want to take the heel spurs and collapse them. And then you want to collapse the toes if they haven't done so already. Then you want to ratchet this entire assembly down. And then these two ports here will go into these two pegs up here. So just repeat that. And then you want to take this piece and rotate it forward on that double joint. Do the same thing on the other side, if it will let me. Transforming this thing off camera is very fun, but on camera, needing to hold it in front of the camera, it's a bit of a hassle. But off camera, this is a very fun transformation to do. Now, what you're going to want to do is take the legs and ratchet them all the way around. They will eventually snap together. These tabs, their angle is that slot. And then this port, this peg, focus. This peg is meant to go into that port right there. And then this big clip is going to slide in there. So that's the end goal position for all these pieces. Now all you need to do is get them there. So collapse all of this into its correct position. And that is jet mode. So there's Starscream in his jet mode, which is absolutely gargantuan. This thing is massive. He does have underside kibble, but it's Starscream. What do you expect? Now then, first thing I'm going to want to do is flip out this rolling landing gear. Just going to flip this out so he can rest on the ground nicely. And he actually does roll pretty well. These are pinned on, so he can roll really nicely. Now then, jet mode detail is really good. You got all the Cybertronian tattoos and all that stuff. And for weapon integration, you remove the missile from the missile launcher, rotate this piece around, and these two ports go into these two pegs. So you just slide them into place, and that does not inhibit your ability to use the landing gear whatsoever. It does still clear the ground very well. And then I'm pretty sure you're meant to peg the missiles into these ports on the wings. And if you have two of them, it creates for a kind of shooter look. But then if you really wanted to, you can collapse the landing gear and bring this piece around and peg the missile back into place so you can still fire in jet mode. Now then, lights and sounds in jet mode. He does still have lights and sounds, and he does have two of them. He has one identical from robot mode. However, there is one exclusive to his jet mode. So you press this button here, and then the last one is. And then let's turn off the lights to show how this looks in darkness, if I can find the button. God. Where's the button? There's the button. Oh, that's not focused at all. There we go. So you press the button and the cockpit and intakes light up. So two lines are that and then a whoosh. So that is pretty nice. And now for vehicle mode size comparisons. This is going to absolutely suck to film. First comparison is alongside the 2007 Optimus. Both of these guys are massive in their vehicle modes and robot modes, so comparing these two is very difficult. Next up, we have my other two, what I would call big leaders. Studio Series, the repaint of the Studio Series 86 Grimlock. So there's that comparison. Starscream is massive. Grimlock can literally stand on top of him with little to no issue. And then we have the Transmetal 2 Dragon Megatron. And I feel like Megatron could probably also stand on top of Starscream. Well, this is pretty spot on. Now, I'm going to compare this jet mode with his screaming brethren. So, here we have the Studio Series Gamer Edition, and here we have the Earthspark Warrior class. Both of these can fit on his wings. The Megatrons of my collection are preparing themselves for war. The three Megatrons of my collection are preparing themselves for war against these three Starscreams because, dear God, Now I'm going to do a quick transformation time lapse for this guy to get him back into his robot mode for some final thoughts. So I'm going to start the time lapse now. So, wrapping up on this review for the Transformers Hunt for the Decepticons Leader Class Starscream, I think that this is like most old movie leaders, really good. Yeah. I only have 2 of them in my collection, but I have no doubt that others can reach that if Starscream can reach this level of expertise and accuracy, others can too. So this has been my look at the Transformers Hunt for the Decepticons Leader Class Revenge of the Fallen Starscream. I will see you all in the next video. Decepticons, fire at the humans!